I want to start here because on Thursday night, Kesia, um, talked about the 8 steps to success with ViiVa, and the first thing on the first slide was dreaming and dreaming big, and it occurred to me that that's a really confusing area for people. And it also occurred to me the last 4 or 5 days, Rich, you may have seen the same thing or felt it, as we're doing 3-ways, and we've done 5 or 6 of them. We're not talking about the product.
No,
We're not talking about the compensation plan.
Nope.
We're talking about the dream. We're talking about their dreams, right? So as a leadership group, and I wanted to have this with we'll get it to everybody, but before we start coaching people on how to dream, I wanted to share some ideas about how to go about doing that and how to be effective. And I'm pulling from like 4 or 5 different sources that I kind of want to share with you guys tonight, okay? So I'm going to go for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to hear from everybody, okay? So number one, let me share the story of Howard Smith. Howard Smith is likely going to be the CEO of our new training system called the System. I did confirm from one more person at corporate that Joe did put a offer on a 40,000 square foot building in Pasadena to house just the training people, to house just the event coordinators, because with a goal of 3,000 events every month, they're going to have people that are setting up the hotels, that are doing all of that stuff. So, but Keisha was starting, so Howard is going to be running this. So he actually worked with Dexter Yeager. Dexter was big with Amway. He understands Dexter's system. That's what Joe learned 20 some years ago in China. And that's why he was successful in 3 different companies. So Howard's telling me this story. And he said, Dave, the last time I've gotten into a company we were going to launch, it was a month or 2 ahead of the launch, sort of like where we are right now. And he got really clear. We got really clear on, my dream and what I wanted. And he said it was just one thing. And he said, I rarely share this with anybody, so I'm not going to get to the specifics, but it had to do with, just making his family happy. And that was his big vision. And obviously he had a dollar in there for what he wanted to make. But he said, Dave, it took me about 2 months to get totally clear on what this dream was. 2 months to not just get clear on it, but to embody it, to become it, right? And he said what happened is during this launch period, I found 5 people. Because ideally you want to find 10, but I found 5 people that were willing to dream like I was dreaming, to come up with one thing and focus on it morning, evening, during the day. And he actually meditated 45 minutes in the morning, 45 minutes in the evening, just on this one thing, just holding that, and the mind will run off another place and you bring it back to center and you start back on that. And he said he found 5 other people that wanted to go through this process with him. And he said when we started that first month, we enrolled 150 people. Month 2 was 300. Month 3 was 500. He said by the end of the first year, all 5 of those people that decided to dream the way I was showing them how to dream, and focusing and embodying it and becoming it, all earned over $1 million that year. And he earned about 1.5 million, 1.4, 1.5, I forget the exact number. And so I was like, wow, this is crazy. So we had this really in-depth talk with, how to dream and how to focus on that, and how to actually get it to come to fruition. So I had some ideas, and I had some thoughts from Think and Grow Rich, from a number of different things. When I started reading Think and Grow Rich, it'll be on the reading list for ViiVa. We're going to try to keep everybody on the same page of reading, connecting, because we all want to be saying the same thing. We already know these guys that are running the system know exactly what it's worked and built another $2.3 billion company. So we're just going to follow that recipe. Okay. So I opened up Think and Grow Rich, which I hadn't opened in a year or so. It's about the 8th time I've read it. The 7th time I read it, I went from working 4 jobs about 6 years ago to within about 6 months, we blew past 10,000 a month, and our income went beyond that by a couple of things I learned in there. And as I started reading today, just in the author's preface, right at the beginning of the book, and he had listed all these people and all the huge success they had, from Thomas Edison following the same concepts, Alexander Graham Bell, William Jennings Bryan, I mean, all these people. And he said, you can get everything in this, you can have anything that you want in this life, provided, this is in capital letters, you can have anything you want, provided you know what it is that you want. And I know most people, when I talk to them what their goal is or what their dream is, if they're anything like me, they're usually somewhat clueless. So Howard said to me today or the other day, here's what I ask people, and here's what I ask my kids. Instead of saying, what do you want to be when you grow up? We ask them, what do you want your life to be like? Whether it's in relationships, even if you're in one, what do you want that relationship to be? If you're not in one, what do you absolutely want that relationship to be? Okay. How do you want that to be? If it is financial, what's the exact number? In Think and Grow Rich, in chapter 2, I think it was, Joey got to chapter 2 today. He talked about a burning desire. He said, but on the money issue, and guys, I want you to make friends with money. Okay. There's a lot of stuff around there about money, and it's really you always hear that, money's the root of all evil. It's the love of money. That's what it says in the Bible, the love of money. Making money is not good or bad, okay? Some people are good, some people are bad perhaps, but making money is not bad. As long as you're focusing, I believe, on service, on creating significance in other people's lives, right? But you want to make friends with money. And I got a little off target there. But in the book, he talks about having a specific, this is chapter 2 now, talking about a specific number of what you want to create. Now, the other day, we had somebody that was talking with, there's Bob. Bob, hold on, I'm going to bring Bob out here too. If I can find him. There we go. And Chantel, cool. So I'll bring Bob up and bring Chantel up while I'm telling the story. So these guys are coming up. So being really specific on that number. So we had somebody the other day that said they were talking to a downline, and this person said they wanted freedom. Okay. And in the response to that, okay, that's great, but what is that going to take for you to have freedom, right? Do you want to just sit in a small apartment, or do you want to have free time to travel? I know Rich said to me, Kathy and I aren't into stuff, but we want to travel. We want to get out there and live our lives. We want to so there is some money, and Joy wants to build a compound, right? For the family, for the kids, the grandkids, and that takes money. The last piece of property we found, just moving the electricity up that half-mile road, was going to be about 40 grand. So it takes money. So be okay with that, but come up with something really specific. So let's say you had a goal. So think of a goal that you have in business and make it a monetary goal. We're going to have some business conversation, okay? And in this goal, what is it that you want to make, whether it's monthly or yearly? So if it's 5,000 a month, 10,000, 100,000, 50,000 a month, 100,000 a month or more, fantastic, okay? Absolutely fantastic. But I want you to get that feeling and jot it down. You don't have to share it on Facebook if you don't want to, but just jot it down. What's that number for you? Okay? What's the real dream? What are you really doing this for? For me, it's significance in other people's lives. That's what it is. It's through service. And I will do that as often as needed to create $1 million a month within 5 years. Okay. That's what my money goal is, but what I'm going to give for it, because there's no free lunch. There's not something for nothing, right? What are you going to give for it? Who are you going to become? Okay. So the first thing I want you to do is just kind of come up with a goal. We're going to play with this, and I want you to work on this in the next couple of weeks. But what do I want my life to be like? Look at the finance size. What do you want it to be like? Once you've got a number, I want you to multiply it by 10. I want you to 10x it, okay? And I'm doing that for a purpose, because most people make these incremental growths. If you're making 50,000 a year, they say, I just want to make 10% more, 55,000. I had a mentor one time say, only a fool would do incremental goals. You want to have massive goals. You want to have stuff. I want it so big. So I want you to take that goal. Let's say it was 10,000 a month. I want you to multiply it by 10. Now it's 100,000 a month. Because I want you to get out of your head, get out of what you think you know how to get there, right? Into a place that starts to feel like confusion. Now we're getting to a place that has some power, okay? So I want you to be a little confused, because if you can figure out how to get there, it's not a big goal. It's an incremental goal. And the only way most people get to incremental goals, because they don't have to change who they're being, is they work a little harder or put more hours in. That's not why we joined this, guys. We joined it to have more free time. We joined it to create more income, right? So take your goal, multiply that money goal by 10. And your mind blows up a little bit. That's cool. But this is where I want you to be. I want you to be beyond how you know how to get there. Because from this point, you start considering possibilities that you don't see if you're just trying to make an extra $1,000 this year or an extra 2 or 3 or 4,000. Okay. So I want to take you out of that and start thinking 10 times. Okay. So what if that became your reality? Okay. Think about that. Just imagine, what if, put it on like a coat. Okay. And try not to fight it. A lot of you guys are going to fight this. Don't fight it. Just what if? What is the possibility? What if I could make that 100,000 a month? What if whatever that number is, if you started at 5, now you're at 50,000. If you start at 10, you're at 100. I went into the last event at a million and I came out at $1 million a month, right? Because I saw other people there that have been doing it. Like, well, I can follow what they're doing. And they said it was just the system. I can do that. So can you, right? So take that goal, multiply it by 10. Now that we have 10 times that goal, I want you to start considering what it would be like to have that. Not how to do it. You don't know how to do it. If you did, you'd be doing it, right? But start looking at, how would your life change? Where would you be living? Would you keep the same address? Would you change zip codes? Would it be a different car? Would it be more travel? Would it be putting money away for the kids' college education, the grandkids, paying off those loans? What kind of things are in there that fit with that? But I want you to stretch, and just like a rubber band, we can take it, stretch it out. When we release it, it's going to go back close to its normal size, but it's going to be a little bit bigger. So I want you to start, Joe says dream big, but then he says dream bigger, okay? So I want to stretch where you've been right now, so you're in a place where you don't know how to get there, but you can only begin considering possibilities, okay? So I want you to begin considering possibilities. That's a powerful place to be. So I just want you to have the sense that it's possible. So just for a moment, I want you to just be open to the new activities that would show up for you. Now I'm going to tie it into Howard's story. He said it took him 2 months, once he had set his goal, to actually begin embodying, to actually be that person. You see, if your goal is 100,000 a month, when you get, most people go, when I get to 100,000, then I'll act like a 100,000 a month person. No, you got to act like it now to get there. Okay. So you start acting it. So the reason Howard meditated twice a day on the one thing, his goal, on the one thing, he did for 45 minutes. I've done it the last couple of mornings. And the mind wanders, and you just got to keep bringing it back. And the mind wanders, and I come back to significance. I come back to service. I come back to $1 million a month. And it's over and over, 45 minutes, 45 minutes. And just like you learned how to walk over and over and over, Howard said it took him about 2 months before he became that, where his automatic response was that of somebody making $1.5 million in the next 12 months. Where the automatic, not only was the automatic response, but who he was being and how he was talking. He said, Dave, people started showing up. He said, you're going to want to start doing 15 explain the plans a month, right? Now, they don't have to be, by the way, the whole opportunity. It could be just the system, just this conversation. He said 15 times a month. Well, I think Joy and I did 5 or 6 last week, right? So it's doable. Then he said, pretty soon you're going to get to 30 and then 60 times a month. And now my head's getting ready to explode. And then he said, I was doing 12 plans a day, 7 days a week. And he said, people were just showing up. Might have been one person in the room, might have been 20 people. And this thing just blew up. But they had a system. And they had people, he had 5 other people that knew how to dream and how to change that dream from a want, because all of us have had wants. And by the way, you don't get what you want. You get what you are. That's the only thing you can resonate, the universe can resonate with. Everyone, you ever had that? You said, I want this, and you didn't get it. You go, goals don't work. Problem is, chances are you didn't change. You didn't become the person that would normally have that result. So you brought the old you and expected to get a new result. That's kind of like the definition of insanity, right? So that doesn't work. So I was listening to Wayne Dyer. I was going to play that, but I'm running a little bit long right now. But he talked about you don't get what you want, you get who you are. So how do you create who you are? Well, once you get it into your mind, your conscious mind tells your subconscious through the process of meditation. This is just neuroplasticity, guys, right? The brain's ability to change, to be plastic, to be molded. You can have it happen if you went through a major, you saw something that was absolutely horrible, like a war or somebody getting killed, and all of a sudden your brain, these little synaptic connections, bam, create all these new neural pathways. The other way to do it, that's a little less harrowing than that, is every day, twice a day, morning and evening is best, start putting that into your mind, and it starts creating a path. Just like you're walking across a field and the grasses are 2 feet high, 3 feet high, the first time you walk across it, within an hour or two, you won't even notice that you walked across it. But if you do that every day, twice a day, by about the end of the first week, you'll start seeing some of those grasses not popping back up. By the end of the 2 weeks, you're going to start seeing some of those grasses die if you kept walking that same line. By the end of the month, you're going to see a path, okay? So just like that, you want to create new results, and you want to create a new way of being, who you've become. So a lot of times I think about, who do I need to become, right? So here's my goal, and I go over it and over it, and then who do I need to become that matches that? Because until I start living that, now here's what I found in my life. When I start on a new goal, first of all, what Joy and I do, we don't pick up the phone and start calling people. We pick up our pen and our journal, and we start figuring out, who do we need to become. So that's number two. After you know what your goal is and you start meditating, you need to start figuring out, who do you need to become when you have that goal, okay? That's a huge piece of this. So that's number one, and I just lost my train of thought. They say it's 21 days to create a habit. We've all heard that, and that's true. But it's 60 to 90 days to change a lifestyle and to change a life. So that's what I want you to focus on for the next 60 to 90 days. What's your goal? Where are you headed? Okay. And then who do you need to become? That's the piece that we want to do here. So I want you to hold these thoughts twice a day. That's what Howard did. Then Howard said something to me that really blew my mind. He said, I don't know how busy it is or how many people are up there in Vermont. I think there's more cows than people. He said, I don't know how busy it is up there in Vermont. He said, you may have to move to another city for a month or two at a time. And my head just went boom. And then we got off the phone, and I started thinking about it. I started considering, well, what if? What if, since I committed to Joe for 5 years, and I committed to myself for the $1 million a month. So what if we have to do that? Okay. So Joy and I started thinking, we won't stay at a hotel. We'll do an Airbnb. Or a friend of a friend, Joy said, we'll find a place to stay. Take over their house while they're off traveling or whatever, right? And we'll stay there. But all of a sudden, it becomes possible. So I've noticed for me that when I start a new process, it doesn't take 60 days to start noticing it. Normally for me, it's about day 3, 4, and 5. I'll start seeing people respond differently. Joy and I'll see people just calling us out of the blue going, man, I've been meaning to talk to you about this thing you're doing. And you're like, how the hell does that happen? It's just a clarity. When you start vibrating, it's not the words you use, it's the music that comes out of your heart. When you start vibrating that, the universe responds to it, okay? So here's what I'm going to wrap up with this and bring everybody else out. I want you to focus on what your dream is. And I want you to do that by asking the question, what do I want my life to be like? What do I want my life to be like? And start journaling. It's going to take some writing. It's going to take some thinking. Henry Ford said, thinking is the hardest work you'll ever do. That's probably the reason so few people engage in it. Okay? You need to put some thought to this. What's that dream? Where are you going? What's that one thing? And then I want you to focus on it twice a day, whether it's 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Make that your priority. Then you can then coach people that you're talking to about what their dream is, because now you're authentic. You're not one of those internet gurus who weren't successful perhaps in some business, but now they're going to teach how to do it, right? No. You want to grow this thing big. You want to grow it massive the way Joe is prepared and funding it to be done. We've got to have you create some massive goals and some real goals. And I want you to start this process in the next couple of days so that when you're sharing with people, it becomes an authentic share. Okay? So cool. I think that's all I have for you guys this morning or this afternoon. Oh, one last thing. Something that Howard said. He said, people and money started showing up so fast. And there's a quote out of the book Think and Grow Rich. It said, when riches, this is capitalized too, when riches begin to come, they come so quickly and in such great abundance that one begins to wonder where they've been hiding during all those lean years. Guys, there's something to this. So I want to just start at the ground floor here and create your dream, make the commitment, start impressing it on your subconscious mind, then start sharing that and helping people create their dreams.